will say, I do expect Reject to likely take them to set number 5.
Well, we'll certainly see if that's the case or not. Trav, we'll see you on the other side. When we talk to Trav next, we'll have a July monthly champion here in the East Asian region. We'll start off with Brawl Ball here. Pinball Dreams, Dueling Beetle, and Pit Stop. And then we'll do Double Swoosh and Bell's Rock should we need it. And I have a sneaking suspicion here that we will need at least one of those bonus brawls. But for now, Pinball Dreams is out. A Lola ban is very, very interesting. So is the Mortis ban. Welcome to East Asia, where, to be fair, so this is something very interesting that you see. These players, these teams, very good. They operate, they have their own little meta going on here in East Asia.
I think it's that, and also that Pinball Dreams is brand new as well. So,
sure.
Lola, first of all, strong pick, world round. Also, we saw just how strong it can be in those previous sets. And then lastly, once again, it's Pinball Dreams. It's a brand new map in the rotation. Not super new. If you've tuned in the last few years, you've seen it before. You've probably seen it on your ladder games, but it's a much different game, especially because of the placement of the bushes. You have really, really large bushes. You have really large walls to work with too. So some of that wall break is going to be pretty necessary here. The Barley first pick definitely screams, I'm going to be using the heck out of these walls. But Reject decided to go with that gray pick pretty early on, and we've seen good use of the gray today as well. Even though it's lacking in DPS, I'm confident that they'll be able to get some great use out of it. The real question is, how do Crazy Raccoon plan on making that Barley more viable, considering that it's very vulnerable as a first pick, but this is probably all going according to plan for them too.
Well, Cordelius is still open and available. As Gus is selected here, long range damage coming out from Crazy Raccoon, but instead it's Nita that shows up here. So some strong, just upfront DPS out of the Nita, long range out of the Gus, and some shield. And then of course that thrower you were talking about, making use of the walls here. I like the composition from Crazy Raccoon. I think easy to say tilted aggressively, but Gus with the shield. Gus kind of is a really interesting choice in the grand scheme of Brawl Stars. But then shifting focus over to the other side, the Dynamite. Oh, we love to see it. What an interesting region. Gray, Dynamite, and Bonnie. What's your feelings on this draft?
Look, my eye is immediately going to the Michael over here on the last pick of Reject. Just because it's going to be flashy, it's going to be entertaining to watch. I think that Dynamite kills Barley like maybe 8 times out of 10, so it'll be mechanics for sure. But Crazy Raccoon, I think that they have some good ideas here. I'll place more confidence in the Dyna to really carry this one for Reject. Great last pick from these guys. The remainder, though, of the Reject roster could struggle a little bit. Minmi especially, he's going to be feeding super to Tensai if he's not careful. He's outranged and has a whole lot of health to feed a Tensai in form of super. It's a good wall break so far. Tensai almost falling. The Herbal Tonic coming down to keep these guys in the game. Reject falling back so far, but they have the control.
It was an interesting look there from Reject. Just walks up and tosses all 3 shots out at once. I think that was kind of a hit confirm, if you will. If Reject winds up finding that kill, they can just waterfall forward. Bonnie finds a nice kill on the left-hand side. Don't know if this is going to be a scoring opportunity. The respawns are coming through. Levi a little bit trepidatious, so walks away here. Nice turnaround kill. But a choppy left side. Moyogoku doing a good job of keeping everybody at bay.
Choppy forced to do something with this ball, went for the stun, went for anything in the playbook, but it wasn't good enough. Now Shitampo's pretty alive and healthy. Pass up to Levi, almost a huge play with the teleport. But unfortunately, and honestly quite luckily and well played for Crazy Raccoon, Tensai had that Kooky Popper at the exact right moment. Not only did he stun him, but he managed to pick up the ball too, which is not something that you see as often as you might expect. Reject now find themselves in the back lines. Shitampo in with that super. A lot of pressure afforded here. Choppy and Levi also all the way at the back lines. Bit of a wall broken open on the right side. Unfortunate. Bonnie's not able to make it to up to the goal line in time to defend. Reject, I think they were really running this match up until that moment where they found themselves on defense. They can earn their way back, but without Levi's hooks, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, what an interesting play. Crazy Raccoon showing us just how little you need to use. The bear got launched on the left-hand side, and I was like, oh, maybe they'll get more use out of the bear somewhere else. Maybe, but they got just enough to find that goal. And that's really what I see separating like top teams from great teams, is being able to squeeze yourself through a smaller window of opportunity. And now Reject on the back foot, 14 seconds to talk about. And they have to make their way all the way upfield and then score. 7 seconds available. Teleport pass to himself. Not going to be good. Shtitampo corners the ball. And Crazy Raccoon gets game number 1.
With their hands after that, they thought about going aggressive. They thought about retreating. And they thought just a little too long and got caught on offense when they weren't prepared to keep that push going. I have confidence in them in the early game to get a goal scored early. But Crazy Raccoon win this in the long game.
I agree there. I don't know if Crazy Raccoon were ever in a spot that they didn't want to be in, though. Reject looked like they had control, but that was just Crazy Raccoon saying, all right, go ahead. This time around, Reject doesn't even get their cleats in the ground. Crazy Raccoon immediately finds themselves up front. Ball cam! We love the ball cam.
I mean, you gotta see where this thing is at all times. And thankfully, Crazy Raccoon have placed it in a bit more optimal position for the viewers. Definitely not even a thought at all for the guys, as they might have this in a scoring position too. Pass up to Moya, could be straight through Minmi. The stun on the 10 side is good, the satchel charge. And Minmi could manage to get a goal off of this. Not going to place that as his focus. More on getting this towards the mid area and pushing up the line of scrimmage effectively for Reject.
Really thought that was going to go in there. Great stun.
Very well played for Reject so far. Now if we can get a super for a Choppy, could get them some good value. Last time we saw Reject in this position, wonderful jump in from Minmi, by the way. A takedown for him. He's only barely alive, though. Free one for Tensai. He's able to land the last shot. My God, the guy's slimy. And Reject have 2 versus 1. The hook is good for Levi, but no kill to finish that off. There it is, the teleport in. But still, they're sort of staggered on the respawns of Crazy Raccoon. Just no openings to get this ball in.
40 seconds to count. Scoreless after all that. Minmi dealing some damage, jumping on in, taking down Tensai as well. 2 on 1, 2 on none. A Choppy has the ball and walks it on in. Reject are the first ones on the board for game number 2.
Well, Shitampa's got the immediate last call. That's a good amount of pressure versus Reject. A Choppy now in with a super. No connections. Moya only barely alive. The Herbal Tonic also getting some good healing. Tensai, Cookie Popper in, super, down. Minmi looks for the kill. Moya gets taken down. Shitampa's the last man standing, and he does get taken down. 2 seconds remaining, and the spins are out, and...
Respectfully, I disagree. I don't think Reject had much control. I think they were on the offensive, but that doesn't always translate to control. I think CR just let them play into them. This time around, Reject, they found their spots, they hit their marks, and they executed. Really, really liked game 2 from CR. From RC, excuse me. We'll see which way this one goes. Oof, we're gonna stick to the long names this time around.
Woo! Now that was slimy. Little ankle breaker action. The wall breaker action, too. Choppy certainly put in the work there, using his super to combine with the teammates and get some good action in. I think I see the best work out of Reject once they land those canes from Levi. They get the gadgets, they get the pull, they get the wall break. It's all perfect. Moya, though, seriously threatening here. Levi with the teleport through. What? That might actually be enough to afford them a victory here. Minmi needs the DPS. Moya has 6,000 health. That's a nice goal there for Crazy Raccoon. Not quite the GG I was about to call it because we're tied up 1-1. But we are tied up 1-1 in the set, too. Next goal wins the set.
Man. Minmi jumps on in here. Moya answers back with a bear. Right side teleport from Levi. Good job there. Tensai not juked around this time. But the respawns are good enough to Reject just play defense with their brains. All players back alive. A Choppy narrowly avoiding the barrage from Stetampo's Barley. TP on the right-hand side, Menmi jumping away, down. And it's a 2-on-2. Achapi shoves the ball up. Achapi has been on fire, ready, set. He's the one moving things up. Still tied 1-1 with a half a minute to go.
Like I was expecting before this set even got started, Choppy's going to have to be the one dealing the most damage. He's going to have to get some good damage in versus the Bear 2. Here's the teleport in from Levi. Mimi also with a good amount of health will be able to force us out of the back left pocket. Bear with me, putting in a lot of work here. Keeping Moya alive, but the final shot, no, not going to come through. Levi needs to FPS, but he teleports through because there's just...
My go-to MVP for this squad. And so seeing the share of the stats there, not a surprise, as all of these players really stepping up and becoming stars in their own right. I mean, becoming is even doing it doing a disservice because they've already been superstars. And so we head out here to Dueling Beetles. I really do love that music, by the way. Big fan. Bell first pick overall. We don't always see it, but I like it. I think it doesn't really tip your hand, and it goes well with everything.
It's, I think, also reflective of a different strategy that Crazy Raccoon are going to take here. Maybe go for some wall break and maybe just try and take this out of the Reject playbook. But Reject's already got some strong options on their side. We see the Gus coming out, no big surprise. We see the Maisie coming out, no big surprise in any region except for East Asia because we just haven't seen it yet today. We haven't even seen it banned out. But I like this brawler for a good number of reasons. Just kind of go for the top-down analysis of her. She charges that super back up so quickly. The only bad thing, I guess her auto-aim's kind of bad, but it's not a problem in the Pro League, so we'll see how fast she's able to charge up those supers. It's also going to influence Crazy Raccoon selections. Yeah, not going to be going for any tanky selections here. Go for some, maybe less health. That's not really the focus, just more DPS-oriented brawlers, maybe assassination-oriented, especially Moya here on the Gray. But the final selection from Reject coming through soon. A lot at play here to deal with for that final selection.
Oh, assassination from the Gray. Is that really what you've kind of like seen out of good old Gary? Just sort of like TP behind enemy lines, pop, pop, pop?
Yeah, that's pretty much what we typically see. I mean, the other thing is that you can get those hooks with the gadget. And as we saw from Reject in set number 1, you're able to get really easy wall break and some pretty free kills as long as you hit those gadgets. So that's kind of what I expect to see. Reject's going to have some ways of dealing with it. Achapi will have a super. Levi will have some knockback. Minmi will have the honey molasses to deal with it. So plenty of options. It's all about the skill diff, really, for Crazy Raccoon with the Gray.
Well, Dueling Beetles can be our place of business here. Long range out of Reject. I like how they responded to the Bell selection. They were like, all right, we're going to play this old school style. Not a lot of area denial like we usually see on Hot Zone maps. Instead, just battle of the brawlers. Reject are the first ones to find a little bit of damage here. And they're stepping up onto the point, 15% and counting. 10 side down pretty low. And Achapi's just been vibing. Got this kill early and just absolutely chilling since.
Unexpected cameo from the Rattled Hive, getting good damage in there. Almost taking down Tensai. Reject are looking for a lot of dominance around these walls. Minmi also has that super at the ready. Little hook there, action, and Moya manages to get him while he's bumped into the wall. Some serious moves. The dude goes for a double kill too. What can stop him? Achapi might be able to. Some good dodges and he gets a super. But that final shot does send Achapi down to 421 health. Moya's a force to be reckoned with. I doubt Reject are going to place more focus on him as a result, but he's seriously a deadly force over here. Little teleport backwards, get an easier rollout for his team when they need to respawn. Stetampo also keeps Levi back in the left corner, but still good takedown versus Tensai. And Reject remain in the lead.
Achapi just doing it, man. Levi barely alive, gets smoked out from the other side. But Achapi. Say it again for me, ready?
Achapi, the dude.
There it is.
When we saw insane plays from the Gray, I mean, Moya was going nuts on this brawler. Reject still persisted. and they did so confidently.
We'll try it again. Moya taking mid lane. Last time around, Reject hit first blood. Now it's Crazy Raccoon, so a better look for them and their fans. A choppy, ooh, nice play there by Moya. And teleports behind you. Nothing personnel, kid. 2 for the Gary. Crazy Raccoon now a third of the way through. And Choppy winning in the mid lane. Gonna survive there. Gray can't find the secondary hit. B after the fact. Nice play from Levi.
Oh, the Rattled Hive, it's just like music to my ears, except visually, whatever that analogy translates to for my eyes. But still, Reject. I mean, just wonderful plays from them so far. But Crazy Raccoon are starting to get their way back. Shtetampo, Tensai, Moya. It's their first time all being at mid and having Reject forced into their own spawn. No Rattled Hives for you, Levi. No easy way to get things out of here. And a very oppressive placement of that Jesse turret mid. He's going to be able to take it down, but Tensai says, okay, how about like I reconstruct that? How about I undo all that work he just did? Now it's time for him to deal with Levi on the left side, though. A little slowing action versus him. The 3K doesn't connect. Moya now with a teleport back to engage Levi on the left. And Crazy Raccoon continue to rack up the percentage. Choppy's got to make some contact. Minmi also on the right side needs to not get contacted by Shtetampo. Takedown onto Levi. Crazy Raccoon are all over this point.
Wow.
Another TP in from Moya. The guy's just everywhere and nowhere all at once. And Crazy Raccoon close down this game with the final percentage as they tie things up.
Because of the way that projectile works, by the time Maisie's shot leaves, Moya TP'd a second time behind again. That was funny. Crazy Raccoon's the first one on the point this time around. And Levi hiding there on the right side. A lane swap for Levi and Minmi on the B and Gus respectively.
Good takedown. Moya, Shtetampo fall one off after the other. Tensai next on the menu. Good damage versus him. Minmi, one dealing most of the damage. Levi's going to go for it. Rattled Hive trying to get that in. Tensai's just out of range, but it's still a good charge for Levi to get that 3KB up and running. Moya in. Not enough damage to take him down. 30 health left. Levi goes for it. Manages to slot things through. Shtetampo looks for the damage, but isn't able to connect. And Reject cross the 55% and counting. The turret in from Tensai is not enough to shut these guys off, but Minmi gets sent packing a bit early. Moya only barely alive, got to be a priority. Big damage versus Tensai, the dash forward from a Choppy, but it gets caught lacking. 1-2 kills with a single Jesse projectile. Shtetampo now with the teleport forward gets some good stuff versus Minmi too. With a mark hanging over his head, mark into a noose hanging over his head too. As he's basically marked for death. He's still going to play aggro, though, and try and win this mid back for Reject.
Levi has been lights out this game. For as much as we were going crazy about a Choppy in game number 1, Levi was doing a lot of work in game 2 and continuing to do so here. His team up by a lot. 88% here for the red team, but it is Crazy Raccoon on the point at the moment, and they're counting up all the way from 50. 88's pretty close to uncomebackable, but not quite there. A Choppy's going to step up forward, and Crazy Raccoon have to make their mark. At 95%, they're just going to walk away. That's it. Reject take the set.
And for Reject, it brings them that much closer to a victory, but really, they're only as close to a victory as their opponents. As they only have one set apiece, we now head on to pit stop for set number 3.
So when it comes to Heist, this is where we get to see some interesting selections as well. Across the world, we saw some BB, we saw some real fun stuff. And right back here, picks and bans are out. Primo is going to be banned out here in East Asia. Colonel Russ also showing up. We haven't seen much pick or ban of the Dogman here today in July's monthly finals, but first overall selection is going to be the Nita, that bear, certainly a big point of what we're doing here. And then back in black, it's BB with the bat.
Oh man, I mean, where have I seen this one before? You see that Nita on one side and the BB on the opposing side, and It looks great for the Nita at first. We've seen this draft literally earlier today. You know, no funny Spike Man, but the Nita first pick didn't work out, so you still got to play it mechanically well. But I think Nita's a very draft-heavy brawler where you have to ensure that you're playing into brawlers that you're good against. And you also got to make sure that you cover the other bases, so if Nita's not able to get a good range matchup, then you are able to slot other brawlers onto those pretty difficult counters for her. I think Spike is absolutely going to be one of those for Nita. BB,
sure.
Less so. I think Nita has some great play that she can do around the BB. BB can leverage her health a lot to just rush in versus Nita, but you don't want to be playing around that bear, blah, 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 blah. Okay, let's get the last pick from Reject. What do they go with after the Tara?
Well, you've got Tara for some kind of group up control, Nita for the bear nonsense. Honestly, a lot of times you see the thrower or the Carl, just straight up, somebody that can just hit the safe kind of no matter what, right? Often we see the Barleys and the Brocks and the Dynamites kind of in that order, where they just launch their super, but the flying hook Carl in certainly gets it done as well. So, a Choppy's choice here. Don't hate it. There's not much synergy on the side of Reject, just like 3-color good stuff, you know? And I'm down for it. We'll see how it works out. The buzz coming through to pretty much counter what the Carl is coming out here with. I gotta say, I like Crazy Raccoon's draft a little bit more, although I don't have many bad words to say about Reject.
I like Crazy Raccoon's draft a lot more, but it's up to you whether that means anything to you. I see the clear counter to Carl. I see BB with a lot of damage versus enemy safe. I see good matchups for Spike in both the Nita and in Tara. So the only thing that I can really see being optimal for Reject is getting the Tara onto some of the more tanky brawlers, where I really think she will absolutely flourish. So Choppy is caught on the left side. Moya also sort of in her path, but I think it's really more of the Choppy and Moya's path. Levi on the right side, though, spares no expense, immediately tries to get onto that safe. Moya manages to get past Choppy, and he's got those shades to spawn. Or no, does he? There it is. That's so much DPS. No way they're going to try and go for this. It's a win every single day of the week for a Choppy with 3 shades.
I need a production hit. Is that the fastest game we've seen? Competitive Brawl? What was that? I think 202, so 14 total seconds. All right, not happening again, as we've already got a monster mash in the middle. Shades come out, Levi's back to the races. This time has to deal with Tensai down here. And Tensai is down to Clown. As the kill goes the way of the Spike player, and Levi now left alone. 50% on the blue box, but Rejects is almost dead. 12% left. Moya still up top. Not quite the straight base race that we saw in game number 1, but this one, pretty geared up.
I think pretty much the only misjudgment that was made in that last one was that Crazy Raccoon thought, yeah, we'll beat the Tara Shades. No. Well played. It's a victory for them. Next, let's see if the teams decide to play this one a little bit more slowly. Base race one way, base race the other way. Shetapo's going to try and rush through the Nita, though. Tensai firmly defending this. And they just kind of let BB do her thing on that enemy safe. She hasn't even died just yet. There's Tensai and Choppy once more with the shades. It's deadly. All of the otherworldly assistants coming in. Could it possibly be enough? With Moy and Shetapo now connecting with the safe, and maybe the only one left to defend. It might be a win.
Oh, the answer!
The final bits coming in, and it's a win.
I am always the one harping on objective play. I say the stuff after the stuff, right? I don't care about the kills. I care about what happens after the kills. That was a little too objective-minded. Can we have a little bit Brawl, please? And maybe, ooh, I'm terrified again.
It's spooky, dude.
Big teeth guy scares me so much, man.
There's a spiked mushroom, though. That's a friend right there.
Yeah, but I just can't see it because of the big teeth. Anyway, Sandy first pick. I feel like we are always reacting excitedly to Sandy selections. First pick overall, leaving Shelly up. I don't know how excited I am about that one. But the Shelly and the Jessie slam together.
Okay, and this isn't the only place you're going to see the Jesse and the Shelly too. Look at those brawler win rates, 78, 73. I don't know about the math, but that's somewhere above 100% if you add them together. Now, that's definitely not how this works, but it's a high number, and high number equals good, right?
Wow.
Don't.
I think this is a good time to remind folks that it is 4:30 a.m. where Ready Set is broadcasting from. In any event, Sandy, Jean. Oh look, they kind of like it's like a couple's Halloween costume. You know, they like match a little bit. And Tara. All right, it's like a squad, cosplay squad.
Yeah, that's the trio right there.
Yeah.
Every brawler is in a trio, and this is like the entire trio. Not really sure what they're called, but I mean, okay. So we're going for something thematic on Reject. Yeah, in Crazy Raccoon, no theming here. Boo. No aesthetics. Boo. I don't know how far aesthetics are going to take.
Well, if you pick the trio of brawlers together, there's actually a secret buff where you get stronger.
Guys, don't listen to him. That's not the truth. That doesn't happen. This is competitive Brawl Stars. This is a monthly final.
If you pick Bonnie and Janet can actually hit her super. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, reminder that it's actually 5 a.m. where FDOT's at, so objectively, he should be even more wired than I am. Still, though.
Well,
okay.
Crazy Raccoon's draft here with the Poco, the Jesse, and the Shelly. I don't know what to tell you. I like it a lot, but it is hard for me. I think Sandy is just such a strong brawler. As long as she can, as long as that super happens. If you are kept at a distance, well, Sandy doesn't do anything. Really, just an ult bot for sure. So, Crazy Raccoon though can do that. Statapo unleashes and wins the left side. Tensai wins the mid, and a Choppy kept at range by the rest of them. And so mid control going to CR, 5 in the pocket.
Well done so far for Crazy Raccoon. There's a clear reason why Sandy picked the Sandy as their first selection, even when Sandy was available, or rather when Shelly was available. We just haven't seen it yet. And maybe it could reveal itself pretty soon. Stetampo has only one gadget left, it seems. Levi also leveraging these obstacles to his advantage so far. Stetampo with another super, but still nothing for Levi. He's got to be close, at least one shot away.
Yeah,
getting the super and affording them a lot of area control. Big pull onto Stetampo, a risky move onto a Shelly with a super, but it was all calculated. He knew he'd be able to finish that off in a couple of shots. Seriously oppressive Jesse turret placement as well from Tensai. It's quickly dispelled by Levi and Minmi. And a Choppy now lurks on the right side bush with his super. It seems like everyone on CR is acutely aware of this as they try to stay away. Maybe some action from Way as he tries to bait it. Now with the super in from Reject, they can get a bit more room here. Gotta see some careful play from Crazy Raccoon. Easy takedown to Stetampo. No, maybe not. Never mind.
Nice
freeze and completely nullifying the super.
Beautiful handoff there. Levi and a Choppy combining for the kill on the left-hand side. Opening up mid for Reject. Menmi by himself up top. Because of that, we're tied at 8-all. Crazy Raccoon does have mid control now. Levi with the respawn. Stetampo, super available, put down to the ground. And Reject, another pull, another kill. Another gem. Still tied at 9. 10 is the countdown, but Crazy Raccoon can just step forward. Reject making sure that doesn't happen. Ready, set. Levi with the kill on right side. They can't reset it. Reject, 11 in the hands of Menmi, and that's game 1, going the way.
But this was actually really well played by Reject. It looked shaky in the beginning because, you know, Shelly things and Sandy things, honestly. Levi seemed to be outranged, outmatched. It was the support that he was able to offer his team once that super was down that really made this one work. A Choppy on that Tara with the super ready, made some big plays once that Sandstorm was finally down.
And that's when we see these characters with powerful supers, Stetampo just walking up the right lane and putting a Choppy down. Levi had one impactful super, and a Choppy had one impactful super, and that's all that team needed. The rest was just good brawling. So you can, the late game, you don't quite scale in Brawl Stars the way they say in other games, but you can look for these late game fights with these brawlers that just need their super. Levi trying to fight against the Poco. Can't do it. Has to use the stun defensively. Chitapo on the other side takes down the Shades. Can't take down the player. Moya falls down. 3-on-2 for Reject. They trail 2 gems ready, but they've got mid.
Could be a double pull. Here it comes. Almost a free super for a Choppy, but Levi manages to get away with a super for himself. Minmi now deeply in this Sandstorm. Chitapo remains alive. Levi needs to go for the stun. There it is. Chitapo, Band-Aid procs, but still he remains alive. Moya and Tensai also still alive. Here comes the healing. A Choppy quickly on their tail. Minmi just barely alive. Good damage aversion, especially a Choppy getting some good positioning, predicting that the enemies were going to walk out of spawn kind of together, sort of rush over towards that bush on the left side to occupy it once more. And a Choppy got there just in time to get the double pull. Got the super for Sandy too. I mean, they played the long game there, and it worked out in their favor. And didn't seem like CR were really ready for that. It's a sort of perspective that we don't see often in Brawl Stars. So now, come Bells Rock, really anything is on the table.
Yeah, I think that's a new dynamic dimension that perhaps the high-end players have already been thinking about. But the idea of these sort of all-in late-game brawlers, where it takes a longer time to sort of get your super, whether it's literally shot by shot or just ability to hit said shot. That's certainly a real term of measurement, I swear. But you know what I mean. Anyway, bans are out, and no Piper, says Crazy Raccoon. No Sprout, that's unsurprising. Well, so I want to give context to why I bring up Sprout. We haven't seen any Sprout here today, but Sprout is sort of go-to quantity for a lot of these maps here. And so interesting that this is the first time we see him picked or banned today across India, Southeast Asia, and now here in East Asia.
Something I'll say about Sprout is that once Sprout gets that super, which, by the way, only takes 4 shots as long as you're running the supercharge gear, yeah, you just can't play that lane. Congratulations. You've lost all of that room. It's so frustrating to play against, I know, for players. And I think in East Asia, at least, whether it's frustrating to play against doesn't place that much emphasis on whether it's banned out or not. I think it's also just straight up good. So it makes sense to get rid of it. The Sprout's banned out, so's the Tick. There are other thrower options, but Reject nor Crazy Raccoon have gone for them just yet. This is more of a last pick situation as well with the Gene. I think that a thrower would make total sense for them, and much less so for Reject, considering the pull is so good versus throwers.
The other couple of times we hit Bells Rock, we saw double Grom bans. Here's the bow. I really like bow when it comes to knockout. I think having the long-range sharpshooter brawler is a good look, but also those mines, kind of a little bit of both worlds. A lot of Gene here today. Now I know these not, when I say these East Asian teams, I mean specifically Crazy Raccoon and Reject, play a lot of Gene, like a lot of Gene, but Gene has honestly fallen off as of late. We haven't seen as much of the pull Genie as we have in recent memory as we have historically. And so interesting to see Crazy Raccoon kind of go back to the old classics as high DPS comes through in the way of Lola.
Okay, definitely a formidable matchup for Levi, or really a Choppy for that matter. I think that this is pretty versatile from both sides. Plenty of ways that this one could go. Chitapo has some good value that he can hand over to Tensai or Moya. I would almost say more likely to be Moya, but I can absolutely see that shield being handed over to Tensai so he can get good value with his super, and then be able to finish the job with relative safety. We'll see Reject opt for the bow on the right lane. Tensai, the matchup for a Choppy so far. Both Brawlers trying to stay just out of range, and look at how much a Choppy is moving this joystick. He's trying to stay perfectly out of range of Tensai, but it does sort of come to hit him in the face here. Off of that last interaction, Tensai's pumping out a lot of DPS, though he does get caught a little bit too aggressive. Levi in with that gadget. More survivability. No, never mind. A Choppy taken down. Minmi also on the last legs. Levi forced into that jail cell that is the mid lane. And Minmi completely surrounded. It's going to be a round one for Crazy Raccoon.
Making it look easy. Nothing really. A lot of times when we see knockout, there's a particular play, a particular moment. This was just kind of right side, eventually wound up losing, and then it waterfalled from there. Tensai here, tossing out the ego, not able to do anything with it. Ooh, Minmi by himself here, ready set. Might be a little dangerous. Levi showing up and just providing a little bit of presence.
We'll see. How safe can Levi stay? He's going to look to pounce on any enemy that has relatively low health. Moya also is likely close to the super just from how long he's been on the playing field, but he doesn't have one just yet. Everyone's staying perfectly out of range. Bo might be the one that he gets it off of. Tensai on the right side. Not going to be able to push up this lane very effectively. Doesn't matter too much. Big pull. Levi flashing the super, doing whatever he can, but he's all out of room in Crazy Raccoon.
In knockout, you just automatically are able to turn the tape to your favor. Of course, Moya certainly spent a lot of time doing this, just hoping to land a shot here in the mid lane. As soon as Moya steps backwards and goads Levi into this column, that's where Moya starts to land these shots. Of course, the further he falls back, the closer he gets into that jail cell you were talking about. Shitapo deleted. Nice play there from Bo. And that forces Moya to get aggressive and find a kill of his own. Pull is good. The turnaround, insane. Minmi with the 2-on-1.
Shocking. What a development from Crazy Raccoon. Expert plays there. Such a fantastic response. Completely turn around that situation. But they only escaped by the skin of their teeth. Wasn't based in luck at all, though. Completely skill. Moya has one more mine to deal with. He's probably not going to have to mess with it too much. Just wants to get that super. Minmi also likely looking for an opportunity to run into the poison without feeding a super to Moya. It's going to present itself pretty soon. Just got to stay away from Moya. Yep, that's the name of the game. Tensai gradually also keeping him low so he doesn't get any funny ideas and try and get a double kill on the both of them. And Shitapo left superless at the end. Still, a round victory for Crazy Raccoon. They're one round away from winning these monthly finals.
Everybody clumped up here, now here for Reject. Choppy pushing down the bottom side. This could be dangerous. Everybody looking at a Choppy. It's a shade, not a player. Or an ego. Moya TP's pretty much to nowhere. 60 HP, but still alive. And Reject have to back off for a full heal.
Levi, the first to fall. Minmi with the teleport through. Goes for the big play with the RT. It's not good, though. Shitapo, Moya still remain alive, and a Choppy on his last legs. The final connection through, and Crazy Raccoon finish off the game, the set, the match. They are your July monthly finals champions in East Asia.
Fantastic showing from Tensai and the guys. Man, Reject, every time we watch them, they seem to get a little bit better. This squad real strong. A Choppy put on a show, a song, and a dance. But it's Crazy Raccoon that winds up just doing a little bit better, man. What an incredible performance.